From Mexico's forbidden fermented drink to the Ottoman Empire's bizarre headgear laws, we're cracking open history's most shocking edicts, where Japan banned pants, Russia outlawed beards, and the Spanish Inquisition burned books you'd read in bed. Buckle up for a wild trip through the world's wildest bans, where ancient China's weird weed rules clash with Victorian England's absurd corset codes. Some will shock you, some will crack you up, but all will leave you wondering, why? Did you know Mexico banned over 1,200 books to control history? For 71 years, Mexico's PRI regime silenced dissent by banning 200-plus books, erasing histories that didn't fit their narrative. 50-plus authors were exiled for writing subversive works, their ideas deemed too dangerous for the public. The Underdogs, exposing the Mexican Revolution's brutality, was banned for 58 years, until the truth couldn't stay buried. After its author's death, the most banned book became a bestseller, selling 2 million copies overnight. What truths are we still hiding, when pages could change everything? Did you know 1 in 5 books in 19th century Russia was banned? In 1828, a new law forced every book through 3 government inspections before publication. Pushkin's Eugene Onegin was banned, yet 10,000+ secret copies were printed in underground presses. Over 3,000 Russians were exiled to Siberia for smuggling forbidden literature into the empire. Even Tolstoy's War and Peace started banned, but by 1869, 20,000 illegal copies circulated. That's more than legal copies of any other novel that decade. What would your favorite book have cost you in Siberian exile? What if a tiny rodent could cost you $10,000? Meet the sugar glider, banned in Australia for good reason. These adorable critters carry over 20 zoonotic diseases, including herpes B virus, that can jump to humans. Smuggling one into Australia risks fines exceeding 10,000 Australian dollars, and for good cause, 90% die within months in captivity. Even worse? They're not Australian natives, they're from Indonesia, where ecosystems already balance them. Introducing them to Australia could unleash ecological chaos we can't predict or control. And scientists still can't explain why they thrive in Indonesia but collapse elsewhere. Next time you see one online, remember, this pet could wreck a continent. What if the color you wore could mean execution? For 1,300 years in China, this wasn't just fashion, it was a death sentence. Since the Tang dynasty, 618 to 907 AD, only emperors could wear imperial yellow. To wear it was to challenge the mandate of heaven itself. Saffron pigment used in these robes cost 10 times more than silver by weight, more valuable than gold. During the Ming dynasty, over 200 officials were executed for daring to wear unauthorized yellow. The color was literally deadly. This color ban lasted until 1912, over 1,300 years. Even today, many Chinese brides avoid yellow in their wedding attire. A color so dangerous it shaped empires. And no one's tested the waters since. What if a single book could topple a shogunate? In 17th century Japan, it wasn't just an idea, it was a death sentence. The 1612 Tokugawa Edict banned 200+ Christian texts. Possession meant execution, public burnings consumed over 1,000 books each year. Samurai patrolled villages, required to report any unauthorized paper. A system of fear kept the shogunate in power for 250 years. But here's what history forgot. Censors used ink detection kits to find foreign paper. The world's first book banning technology. They burned books, but could they burn ideas? The same dynasty collapsed 250 years later over one banned book. What happens when a society tries to erase knowledge? The answer took centuries to write. What if 2,000+ books were burned in a single day? That's just the start of this shocking story. Between 1480 and 1834, over 150,000 books were destroyed in public burnings across Spain. By 1700, the Inquisition had banned 3,000+ titles, including Don Quixote, labeled dangerously subversive. For 8 years, Cervantes' masterpiece was forbidden to challenge unquestioning obedience. Banned books became so valuable smugglers risked execution to trade them for gold. Some of these outlawed texts now sell for millions, at a price no king could have imagined. What if 1 in 10 Londoners used opium in the 1800s? It's true, this shadowy crisis shaped an entire era. Over 6,000 pounds of opium were consumed in London every year before 1878, enough to fill 12 wheelbarrows. By 1870, opium pipes turned up in 15% of working-class homes, hidden in plain sight. By 1900, police arrested over 500 people yearly just for owning a pipe, despite its once legal status. Here's the twist: doctors prescribed opium to 1 in 5 patients, including teething babies, until the 1880s. A society built on painkillers, yet we still blame today's addicts. What does that say about us? What if owning a book could get you killed? In 1576, the Ottoman Empire made 2,000 religious texts illegal, with execution as punishment. Sultan Murad III's decree: possession risked 40 lashes, exile, or death. Copies were hidden in caves, smuggled across borders, or burned in public squares. Each year, 20% of seized texts were destroyed in dramatic state-sponsored burnings, a warning to scholars and scribes alike. But here's the twist: the Vatican Library secretly preserved over 300 of these forbidden manuscripts in its archives, for centuries. Why? To protect knowledge they feared would vanish forever, a secret mission that defied empires and ideologies. What if a glass of milk could kill you? 1 in 100,000 gallons of raw milk carries deadly pathogens. Raw milk is 150 times more likely to cause salmonella than pasteurized milk, a risk so high it's staggering. California's 1946 ban slashed milk-related illnesses by 90% in just 5 years, a public health triumph. E. coli in raw milk causes 1 in 6 hospitalizations, 10 times more severe than other foodborne illnesses. But in some U.S. states, raw milk is still sold through milk clubs, where buyers own a cow to bypass safety laws. And scientists still can't explain why these loopholes exist, while California keeps you safe. What if Japan's most iconic weapon was banned for 264 years? From 1603 to 1868, Japan's Edo period outlawed samurai swords for commoners under brutal sword hunting edicts. Violators faced a 10,000 ryo fine, equivalent to 200+ years of a farmer's wages. Even samurai weren't safe. 1 in 3 were executed for violating the strict sword-carrying code. But the ban birthed a deadly innovation: swords disguised as scrolls that folded into books. These Shinobigatana let rebels strike from the shadows, until the blade was revealed in blood. Did you know Saudi Arabia once banned a dance that's 2,000 years old? For 40 years, strict religious laws silenced this ancient ritual, once performed by 150,000 people nationwide. The dance combined synchronized sword movements with poetic chants passed through generations. But in 2023, the Saudi royal family revived it as a protected cultural heritage tradition. Now, schools teach this forbidden art, once erased, now reborn under royal patronage. And no one saw its comeback coming, until the king signed the decree. Over 1,200 games are banned in China, but why? Only 100 new games get approved each year, a strict filter that rejects 90% of submissions. Titles with sensitive content face automatic censorship, including violence, politics, or anything hinting at real-world issues. Grand Theft Auto 5 was banned for 8 years, finally returning in 2023 with all weapons and gangs removed. But Genshin Impact thrives. Its fictional world avoids real-world politics, making it censorship-proof. What happens when a game slips through the cracks? The censors are still perfecting their list. Did you know 300+ rituals were banned in ancient Egypt? The consequences? Execution, exile, or worse. Over 500 tomb robbers were executed annually during the New Kingdom. Pharaohs took grave desecration very seriously. Misusing the Eye of Horus symbol? Punishable by death. This sacred emblem represented protection and royal power. Pharaohs even banned 2000+ deities from coexisting in rituals. Divine politics were deadly serious. But here's the real shocker. One mistake in the opening of the mouth ritual could get a priest killed. Precision meant survival. These weren't just rules, they were life or death commands. What other